Hey everybody, welcome once again to the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined as always by Wrestling Inc.'s own Raj Giri. Mr. Matt Morgan will be joining us shortly, and tonight we're going to talk about Monday Night Raw for April 17th, 2017. Raj, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing well, man. Eventful Raw tonight. Great spot at the end, doing something the WWE has shown a surprising amount of restraint on with collapsing the ring at the end of that match with Big Show and Braun Strowman. We're going to get into Raw and talk about it segment by segment. But first, wanted to cover a bit of news this week. So, Raj, what's going on with the Revival?
So Dash Wilder, he fractured his jaw during an NXT live event on Friday night. So, yeah, it's bad timing. You know, they just got on with getting some steam. But he's out for 8 weeks, so it's not too bad. And so, yeah, he'll be, I guess, back in the ring in mid-June.
Crazy. And that was, this was their farewell tour for both them, Nakamura, and Ty Dillinger.
Right.
This past weekend on NXT. We saw those great photos online, the curtain call moment they did at the end. But that's just got to be so frustrating for them to get this opportunity and then boom, immediately out of action.
Right. Yeah. But luckily it's not too long. So they should be right back where they were.
Cool, man. So jumping into Raw tonight, we started with a great recap, look back at what happened last week at that segment with Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman. I thought it was very interesting that when Braun came to the ring and got into it with Kurt Angle, talking, Braun airing his list of grievances, of which it seems like he's just always mad, but he's not really specifying, necessarily what it's about. Just more competition. More Roman, whatever. Were you surprised that when they said Roman wasn't going to be there tonight, that they actually kept Roman off this week's Raw?
Yeah, I thought that was great. That's what you really should do, is when you do a big, expensive angle like that, is really sell it. So I almost wish they'd sell it for a couple of weeks and then hold off on doing this match until the next Raw pay-per-view. But that's not until June, so it's kind of a long way away. But I think that would have been cool to hold off on it.
Now, is it true they kept Roman off house shows this past weekend?
No, he was there. He didn't wrestle. He got no brawl with Braun. He put him through a table at each one. So they all ended with Roman putting Braun through a table.
Gotcha. So they're kind of maintaining an illusion that something's up with Roman, but
and he came out with his shoulder taped up and everything. So
that's extra if they're at least trying to sell it somewhat at the live show. That's
right.
Something. Yeah. Cool, man. So we opened with that tonight, and that really set the tone for the evening, with Braun being so upset. I thought Angle was good. I'm surprised they didn't use Angle more in this episode. I mean, it did seem kind of odd that he was there in that opening segment and then just
but at the same time, you don't want to have him all over the show every week. So I think it's good to kind of go back and forth. So that was fine by me.
No, definitely. So after that, we went to the segment. So they really built up tonight. They really, really built up the Fatal 4-Way to crown the new number one contender. What did you make of those vignettes that we got this evening with Mickie James, Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, and Alexa Bliss? Just doing a little more to sort of put each girl over before the match.
Yeah, I liked it. I wish they'd do stuff like that more often. So I thought it made the match feel more important.
Yeah, no, definitely give it some build. I thought this was interesting that we got the first real match tonight was Chris Jericho versus Samoa Joe. And this was, a shorter match, not terribly long, but it ended with Samoa Joe getting the victory. And then we saw Jericho show up again later in the episode. What did you think of the pairing of the two of them and the way they did Seth Rollins on commentary? And is it going to be Seth Rollins versus Samoa Joe indeed for Payback?
Yeah, they announced that. And, I think it's good that Jericho's, he's leaving soon. He's putting the new guys over. Yeah. But he is in a U.S. title match. So, there is that, to have him lose so clean, and yet he's got a title match coming up. But outside of that, I thought he was in the Cochina clutch for a little too long. But I thought the match was fine.
I like seeing
nothing great.
I like seeing him trying to put Joe in the walls of Jericho.
Yeah.
That was a sight. I think that move, there's definitely a size differential where it doesn't quite work as well.
Right, yeah.
On that. But no, I thought that was an enjoyable match. And yeah, interesting that they had him lose so decisively there. What'd you think of the confrontation that they did with Seth and Joe after that?
Seth just hasn't been. Steve Austin was criticized and critiquing Seth Rollins on his podcast, and I felt like he just nailed it in the sense that Seth just doesn't really have a character right now. He did when he was a heel, but right now he's just kind of there. You don't know, what is his character, and I just get that feeling when he's on commentary. He's saying lines that could be scripted for any other guy on the show, and so I just feel like he needs to work on developing his character more.
Matt and I were talking about that a few months ago on the podcast because we're both fans of the WWE 2K17 game. And with Seth, it's actually remarkable how much his promos sound like they're cut a promo mode, like the default stock promo answers they give you. Yeah. Very similar to everything that comes out of Seth's mouth,
Yeah, totally. You just can't, you just get nothing from it.
Yeah, his promos are literally the equivalent of create a wrestler. There's not much more there. I thought with Joe tonight, that was kind of it too. I mean, I don't know. Okay, so Joe is working for let me see if I understand this correctly. Joe is working for Triple H, but he's also personally pissed off. So he's upset that Seth hurt Triple H and then Stephanie, but then Joe's also personally more invested in this. I thought that was a little tangled how they were mixing up that motivation.
Yeah, I guess just by taking out Triple H and Stephanie, he made it personal. But it's a bit of a stretch, but at least it's something.
Just something more, just some more motivation. This is almost making me long for the days of you think you're the best, I'm the best. Let's fight. I'd rather have it be simple and cliched than convoluted and messy like that. Okay, so backstage, first sighting tonight, Gallows and Anderson walking backstage and they walk past Elias Samson. What do you think? I'm on the fence about this. I'm like, is it brilliant to introduce a guy this way and just literally have him in the background as opposed to doing the traditional promo coming soon? I mean, is this a better way to build mystery and intrigue for a new performer?
My guess is they don't have main event plans for Elias Samson. So, so it's just something, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where they put him. If he's in the mid card or if he's kind of put in that Kurt Hawkins role. I would hope with just how much time he's spent in NXT that they try something with him off the bat. And then if it doesn't work out, you move him down.
Yeah. I mean, and in NXT, I don't think, everyone's critique of Elias Samson, none of it has to do with his in-ring ability. I think it's just people legitimately hate that gimmick in the weirdest way. Not it gets him over as a heel. It's just people really dislike that gimmick. And I'm amazed that he's gotten so far with it.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a cool look. I feel like they could do something with him. I just hope this gimmick doesn't kill him.
Yeah. So, we saw Gallows and Anderson walking backstage. We also saw Goldust and R-Truth together, heading to the ring for their match against Gallows and Anderson. But then wouldn't you know it, out of nowhere, Braun Strowman comes and lays them both out, costing us what could have been the best match of the night. Nay, the match of the year between Goldust, R-Truth, and Gallows and Anderson. I mean, what a loss to Raw tonight.
It was sad.
Amazing that it didn't actually happen. I think it did happen once before, a couple months ago, and that's how memorable it was. That's
what I thought. I thought sure. Anytime they show the Golden Truth going to the ring, they get beat up or something. Because I can't remember the last time they've actually wrestled a match on Raw.
That's a question for Matt. Okay, so what's a worse position to be in? To be the guy that gets beat up on the way to the ring and doesn't get your match, or to be when they do those weird matches where the person's already waiting in the ring, you get the jobber entrance, but you're on the roster and you're waiting for your opponent who gets beat up on the way to the ring and it never happens. Yeah. I think Damian Sandow, I think that was his last appearance on Monday Night Raw, was waiting in the ring for a match that never happened.
Yeah.
Not sure which one's lower on the totem pole. Okay, so after that, in the suspense of what was going to happen, Braun was supposed to have the night off. Braun got in trouble, but then we have Gallows Anderson in the ring calling out, whichever nerds are ready to come out and face them. And we got Enzo and Big Cass, which I thought was kind of an anticlimactic. I mean, were you thinking this might be a moment where we get a surprise call up or we get something?
No, I think they're done with that. I think they've done all the shakeups. So I thought it might be the Hardys. because they always get the pop. But Enzo and Cass worked.
Even Bo and Curtis, I think the audience would have been like, "Oh, well, we haven't seen them in a while."
Bo and Curtis.
Yeah, why not?
I think there would have been some groans for that one.
What was that story? The Wrestling had it too. Apparently, there was a live event 2 weeks ago where Curtis Axel was like the most over person at the live event, and it wasn't his hometown even.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was just like a live event. Curtis Axel got this massive crowd reaction. I don't know. I think there might be more there than. I
don't know about that. Fans like being ironic sometimes.
That is true. You think that's Vince's excuse? Oh, they're ironically cheering for them.
Probably.
Really, at the end of the day, we know they love Roman. They're just ironically cheering for that Sami Zayn and everyone else.
Right.
Yeah. So Enzo and Cass, okay, they came out, they did their shtick. I've now determined everybody in the crowd does the Enzo shtick, but I think it's the real hardcore fans that do the Cass line and just says hit him with it, Zoe. Like those are the ones like they're hardcore. They're doing the Cass moment. Enzo and Cass, it amazes me that for all this talk, people have been predicting that somehow they're gonna, it's gonna wear thin, and it seemed like we're getting shades of that. But best I can read, the crowd's still into it.
Well, there's a difference between going along with the chants and really getting your attention. Like the New Age Outlaws, they were over for a long time with that catchphrase, but after a while, it was more like just having fun doing it. But you didn't really want to see them wrestle once the match started. And I feel like Enzo and Cass are kind of getting in that territory where it wakes you up, it gets you going when they come out, but once the match starts, you kind of lose interest.
I think that they've had opportunities where there could have been more done with them, but now there's just no plan with them going forward. I mean, what was that story that broke a couple days ago? Vince really likes watching Enzo get beat up, so he's happy to just book them in the same spot again and again, and that is their lot in life for the foreseeable future.
Yep, and Big Cass, he's got plans for Big Cass at some point, but yeah.
And they get to do all the ads, and they should do all the ads, to be quite frank, because their ads are pretty good.
Yeah, they don't come across as forced, badly acted as some of the other ones.
Yeah, and they seem, genuinely into it, man. Thank God there was no Little Lungs ad tonight. Like that, just like that one's tough to sit through, man.
Is that only on SmackDown, or do they air that during Raw too?
That's a good question. I feel like I've seen it on both, but maybe it is just a SmackDown thing.
Maybe.
Correct. Someone in the comments also correct me if I'm wrong. Tonight, for the first time since I've been watching Raw live, I did not see an ad for Bosley hair. What is going on there?
Oh, huh?
I saw something for female balding by a different company, but I miss Mike K, man. He's my guy. Yeah, so it was a different vibe tonight to Raw without that Bosley.
Is he the guy that's kind of creepy? Is talking about he could do whatever he wants.
He can mess this hair up if he wants to mess his hair up. He's very defensive.
What I want.
Yes. And it's weird too that there was a time when AJ turned heel that AJ was sounding very strangely like Mike K. It was like AJ's there's simpatico. But yeah, weird, no Bosley ad. I don't think there was a Popeyes ad either. What's going on? So yeah, we had Enzo and Cass versus Anderson and Gallows. I was looking online, I was thinking it, and then I saw it really validated. Like this was an all right match. I mean, the ending sort of came out of nowhere, but I thought this was pretty solid, all things considered.
Yeah, I mean, most of it was Enzo getting beat up, and until he made the hot save. But I thought, I pretty much thought this whole show was pretty, was entertaining enough. It wasn't great or anything until the show closing angle, but there was nothing on it that I thought was bad. And I thought this match was, above average for sure.
Oh man, like if this was the average Raw that we had week in and week out, I feel pretty good about that. I'd be like, this is a solid show for 3 hours or 3:15 with what they did tonight. Yeah, this was absolutely better, more consistent than most weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, after that, actually, someone's mentioning in the chat. Let's talk about this for a second. Notable tonight. So last week, immediately after that, I get a text from Raj Giri when we were saying, so are announcers going to shift in the Superstar Shakeup? Raj was like, oh no, I don't think that's going to happen. I get a text saying Otunga is going to Raw, Byron Saxton going to SmackDown, like the second we got off the air last week. But Otunga's doing a movie now, so tonight we had Booker T.
Yeah, and I think Booker is an improvement over Otunga. It's not like Booker's that good or anything, but I think he's a lot more entertaining than Otunga.
He puts more thought into what he says. I feel like Otunga literally says the first thing that comes to his mind, whereas Booker, he had some zingers tonight and some funny.
Yeah, there were some stretches there where I'm like, is Booker still there? Like there was like a 20-minute gap like in the first hour where he wasn't saying anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Vince was in his headset or he was just, a little, had commentator dust. But yeah, I thought I'd rather him stay on Raw than bringing Otunga back. I still think he could do something with Otunga, but I just don't think commentators, is his true calling.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe as an interviewer, maybe someone that does
as a manager.
Sure, I could see that. But yeah, commentary, that's just such a weird stretch. I don't know. And especially to have him on the same show as Corey Graves, I think is really just night and day difference. You know, could not be more stark. But he's off doing a movie yet again. Who knows what stories he'll come
Apparently
to.
Apparently, it must be a pretty big role if he's gone for 6 weeks.
Yeah. So I got conned by the internet buzz into watching that Sandy Wexler film on Netflix, and then realized while watching it that was the movie he was talking about that Otunga was in, where he had a conversation on the set with Rikishi about the Usos. Remember last summer?
Right. Yeah. Oh, was Otunga in the movie?
He is in it because his wife, Jennifer Hudson, is like the star of the movie with Adam Sandler.
Oh, okay.
It's not a huge comedy. It's not really a drama, but it's better than a lot of what, the Adam Sandler stuff recently. It's just cute. It's pleasant, but everyone online's like, oh, it's surprisingly good. It was surprisingly okay.
And he plays a manager to a pro wrestler too, in it, right? Or he's an agent. One of his clients is a...
Oh, yeah. So Adam Sandler plays Sandy Wexler, Hollywood manager in the 90s. It takes place in the mid-90s. And yeah, he has a lot of different clients, including stuntmen, wrestlers, and Jennifer Hudson as a singer.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So Terry Crews, I guess, plays the wrestler in it, right?
Yes. Yeah. So the mystery is solved of why were Rikishi and David Otunga hanging out on a movie set. It was an Adam Sandler film that Vanilla Ice is also in. So there you go. So after that tonight, let's talk about Miz TV and what they did tonight. What do you think? I tweeted about this and I was surprised that more people didn't have a reaction to this. We brought over the Miz and Maurice from SmackDown. We brought over Dean Ambrose from SmackDown, and now we're putting them in a program together. Do you think that's wise?
Yeah, I thought that was odd, especially when they just did this program not that long ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was weird. I don't, I thought you'd mix it up a little bit, but maybe they just don't have anyone to do that with. I thought Miz and Sammy were, going to be doing more than just their one-off match last week.
Would have been great.
Yeah.
That being said, I thought the segment was good tonight. I think Ambrose is good with the Miz. I like the way that he sort of does the whole "I'm not picking up on what you're saying" thing and seems oblivious to it. I think that's funny. But yeah, I mean, when did we even have this feud? When I guess would have been last November, December after.
Yeah.
The Miz had the belt and lost the belt, so now we're going back to this.
Yeah.
Thought it was interesting that he called out Ambrose being the IC champion and how did he describe it? Barely on the card of WrestleMania.
Yeah, like barely made a blimp on the card or something like that.
Yeah, didn't say pre-show because according to Vince, pre-show is just as good as the regular show.
Right. Yeah. No, it had that stinging bite of truth to it. What he was saying. I mean, he was pretty dead on in his promo.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that is necessarily Ambrose's fault and what creative gives him. But he's definitely not where he was, really since before his Brock Lesnar feud. I felt like it, even though he won the WWE Championship, he never felt like the guy when he was the champ. And, he was wrestling Dolph Ziggler for the title at SummerSlam. So, I think he could use a heel turn. The problem is he moves a lot of merch, and so they don't want to mess that up. But I think, he could use a heel pretty much the whole Shield. Seth Rollins, Ambrose, and Roman Reigns probably all better off as heels right now.
Just everyone. Basically everyone in the entire company except Sami Zayn, the lone face of the company.
AJ Styles.
Yeah.
And Bayley.
AJ's a face works, we're seeing it. We're seeing it going there on SmackDown now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fully underway. But yeah, I thought the critique, it was interesting that the Miz now, so his grievance and rant tonight was just Ambrose not caring, not putting effort into his appearance as a superstar. I don't know. I mean, they gave Miz such fire to work with on SmackDown, especially with everything with Daniel Bryan and just the confrontations he had there, even with Cena. And this tonight just kind of felt like, I don't know, like a very safe version of the Miz.
It's a start. I mean, they, I don't know what else you'd really go with.
Yeah.
As far as a reason to start feuding. So,
yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the segment backstage. And of course, Miz TV devolved into a fight, of course. I did. My wife laughed very loud when the Miz suggested that Ambrose put on a fanny pack and some Zubas to set him back 30 years. You know, mentioning that I own
Zubas. Mojo Rawley's doing that already.
Yeah. And I own multiple Zubas and I have that WWE fanny pack. So, you know, I'm set. Although Mojo's kind of cleaned it up. Aside from that Zuba tux, he's I don't know, a little more put together now with the Gronk, you know, with the the WCW level main event program that he's in with Gronk and Jinder. Yeah. Okay, so this backstage, Braun Strowman literally just dragging Kalisto around backstage, throwing him in the trash. Why on earth did Kalisto agree to this? Like, dude, you just moved to this brand. He's thinking, like, I'll get it out of the way week 1, man. Then they're going to be better to me.
Hopefully they move him to the cruiserweight division because this is where they see him right now, you know. R-Truth Goldust level where he's just thrown in the trash. And it doesn't get much harsher.
Oh, God. Like, and why not make, I mean, honestly, if you just move Kalisto over from SmackDown, why not make just some random cruiserweight low on the totem pole take this beating? Why have it be Kalisto, someone that's actually, if you put Kalisto in the cruiserweight division, he's like, what, the number 3 most recognizable person in that division after Aries and Neville? I mean, Kalisto is known throughout the WWE universe.
Yeah. Hold on one sec. Matt's having some difficulty jumping on, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, keep going.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's amazing to me. Like, why would they even invest in a guy and just not use someone that had literally nothing to lose? Whereas with Kalisto, I mean, I'll say this, man, like now that the Usos have turned heel, like Kalisto and Sin Cara with the bright colors and whatnot, like they're one of those little kid appeal wrestlers. You know, I used to see it at live events. I mean, last summer, you would see kids wearing the Uso stuff because it was a bright neon colors. They wear the Cena stuff because it's bright neon colors, and then the Lucha Dragons. You know, so it's just surprising to me that they're just completely destroying whatever credibility they have left. Actually, if you want to troubleshoot that with Matt a second, I want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of this episode, which is DDPY. You've heard us talk about DDPY, DDP Yoga, specifically their awesome Max Pack, which is used by the likes of Chris Jericho, AJ Styles, Mick Foley, Goldust, and tons of other WWE stars who not only love using DDPY, they live by DDPY. Look at Chris Jericho in the shape he's in. He credits DDP Yoga with getting him in that shape, the best shape of his career. Goldust, look where he was at a couple of years ago. Look where he's at now. DDPY is what got him there. And for a limited time, you can get the DDPY DVDs for 25% off, plus 3 months full access to the DDP Yoga Now app. Or if you're digital only, you can use our code to just get the DDP Yoga Now app for 25% off. You can also buy a Max or Combo Pack at 25% off and get 50% off the second one. Here's what we want you to do. Head on over to ddpyoga.com/wrestlinginc. That's ddpyoga.com/wrestlinginc to take advantage of this offer. You know, you've heard us talk about it before, but the DDP Yoga Now app is actually incredible because it's not just the DDPY workouts. There's also healthy cooking lessons included in there, Monday motivational messages from Diamond Dallas Page himself. It's really everything you need to keep on track, to track your progress, track how you're doing, and really manage your better lifestyle, your better living through DDPY. Again, that's with the DDP Yoga Now app, which you can get for 25% off when you go to our link at ddpyoga.com/wrestlinginc. Also, that Max or Combo Pack deal at 25% off with 50% off the second one. Partner up with a friend, partner up with a loved one. Have an accountability buddy, get in shape together, change your health, change your life with DDPY. Again, we thank them for sponsoring the show. That's ddpyoga.com/wrestlinginc. So proud to have them as a sponsor. So speaking of the cruiserweights, Raj, we did follow that up with a cruiserweight match tonight, and that was TJ Perkins versus Jack Gallagher, but Austin Aries and Neville got involved. What did you think of the way they handled all of that, and how you feel about TJ Perkins now as a heel?
I think he's better as a heel. He seems a lot more comfortable. They got to change his entrance music because that doesn't really, it's not very heelish. So that's got to go. A couple people in the comment section are saying I look like TJ Perkins' dad. I've been told that there's a resemblance before, but look who it is.
What's up, guys?
How's it going, Matt?
Good. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay.
So what'd you think of Raw?
I liked it. I tell you what, Braun versus Big Show continues to impress somehow.
Yeah, that was their two matches on Raw were really good.
Yeah, very good. The women's stuff, I think they're finally finding themselves in a hard place with Nia Jax now. They got to get rid of her in all these matches to make the action up.
Yeah.
They planned a couple spots in that was cool with how they got rid of Mickie James with like the battering ram spot. That was cool. But I mean, I don't know. Overall, the show I thought was fairly good though.
Yeah, definitely. So we were talking about this before you got on, Matt. So if you're Kalisto, if you're a performer, would you have allowed yourself
you thrown in the garbage?
to be thrown in the garbage?
No, but what choice does he have?
But he just came back to Raw. Like they just moved him. I mean, I don't know. It's just so strange to me that they chose to do this with him, you know?
Yeah. And what's crazy is Braun is strong enough. He could have done that to Ron Killings or somebody else just as easily. They didn't have to do it with him.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like someone that they could actually use right now, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So strange. I mean, they shouldn't have done it to someone that they could actually use right now. They use, you know, like exactly what you said, R-Truth or Goldust or someone that they're not using at all, or you know, Bo Dallas.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we were talking about a couple things tonight. I'm trying to go back here and see what you think. What did you think about the Miz versus Ambrose and them?
That I should have opened up with that. That was one of my favorite parts. The promo, Miz continues to just slay it on the mic. I loved everything he did. Loved everything he did.
Cool, man. Yeah, I think it's where they go from here with it. Like if this is where they're starting, I think they can ramp it up pretty quick, you know, and definitely take it to another level. So we talked about the cruiserweight match a bit. Is it a good sign or a bad sign that Apollo Crews was in a backstage segment with Titus O'Neil?
Bad sign.
That's never a good sign.
Titus, at least he had better writing tonight than he's had in a while.
Yeah, Titus has got promise if you could give him something useful. But we've, there's a history of how he's been used there.
Yeah. Let's talk about this fatal four-way tonight to crown the new #1 contender. Sasha Banks versus Mickie James versus Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax. So, Matt, after you talked about it last week, I went back and watched that replay of Nia dropping Charlotte on her head, which looked worse when just watching it in hindsight as opposed to even when it aired. So what do you think about how Nia performed in the ring tonight?
She's got to be careful. She did another thing tonight, another little sloppy moment in there where she made a cover on, I forget who it was. It might have been Mickie. I don't know what it was, but it was something where she kind of looked frustrated, and she throws all of her weight on Mickie when she goes for the cover in being frustrated, like little things like that. She's got to be careful. She is a huge woman, and she cannot afford to be sloppy. As a bigger wrestler, you are taught to treat your opponent like a sack of eggs more than the next person. Like everybody, when they start training, you're supposed to, treat your opponent as a sack of eggs, just in general. But as a bigger guy or bigger girl, even more so that people can't go behind our backs and go, oh, they're stiff, we don't want to work them. Oh, they're a friggin', I'm working a friggin', stiff giant out there. They're gonna injure me. And then they start to bury you. So we have to be extra careful as bigger people. And she does the exact opposite. She's not extra careful. She's actually extra sloppy.
Yeah, I wonder if they changed plans for Payback, because it seemed like they were building to Bayley versus Nia Jax, and now it's Alexa Bliss. So I wonder if that was changed because of how Nia is not ready yet.
Yeah, well, they need to stop putting her in these positions where she's showing her ass. It's not her fault. She's just not ready. Bless you. But like, did you hear the crowd's reaction when Alexa Bliss drop kicked her out of the ring? Like, the fans didn't want to see that either at Payback. So
yeah,
that says a lot.
I like Alexa winning. I think that was I was hoping that they build to that more, to Alexa versus Bayley, but still, I think Alexa's such a great heel. Bayley's such a great babyface. Hopefully, this could get Bayley kind of back on track.
Yeah, definitely.
Am I wrong, or was tonight the first night that they gave Nia's weight when she entered?
Oh, I never noticed. Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, I just thought that was strange because they don't do that for the women typically.
What they bill her at? 300?
It was like 270 or something. It's like, damn. It was just,
what do you think she really is?
Rebuilt.
Probably like 220.
No, probably 2 and change. Yeah, 2. Who knows? I never met around how tall she is.
Yeah.
Again, it's that costume, man. Like, that costume is not doing her any favors. Not at all. But I thought tonight, I was really glad it was Alexa. I would have been happy if it was Alexa or Mickey. I feel like with Sasha, they need more time to just one-on-one with her and Bayley, build that and do it right.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I don't know. I don't know if they'll wait till SummerSlam for that or what. But we shall see. So yeah, I thought the match was okay tonight. It felt like a lot of the matches went on longer tonight than usual, but I didn't think that was a bad thing necessarily.
No, they're good matchups, so we wanted to see more.
Yeah, fewer crappy segments and better matches.
Speaking of what could be a crappy segment, we had Kurt Hawkins in the ring, facing Finn Balor. So, I mean, Matt, were you surprised by that? I mean, that seemed like, man, talk about a mismatch of talents.
I've never seen a smaller guy get enhancement talent matches on TV, and Finn Balor somehow is getting them.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing. If their goal is to highlight, that's usually what these enhancement matches are for. Finn Balor, if they're looking to highlight him, give him somebody he could, tear the house down with in a short match, and he beat somebody. No one's impressed that he beat Kurt Hawkins.
I will say Kurt Hawkins, I liked his promo. I thought he was good.
Me too.
Yeah. Obviously, that's great that Finn Balor's okay because he had suffered a concussion last week. Obviously, not. I mean, he was cleared today, so it couldn't have been that. Wasn't hurt that bad apparently. So that's good because that would have sucked if he had to have missed, been out of action after just returning again. So it was a good surprise seeing Finn just for that because it wasn't clear whether he was going to get cleared or not.
I assume that's why they did it, is just to give him something to keep him on TV with like no risk factor. But he took a couple bumps. I mean, he hit his back a couple times. Yeah.
I wonder where. I mean, Jericho's leaving in a couple weeks, so I wonder if they're going to go with Finn and Joe, or there's a few different areas they can go. So
yeah. So what do you think of that segment with Jericho, Matt? First, actually, Matt, would love to get your thoughts about Jericho and Samoa Joe that we saw earlier. But then with Jericho putting him into, looks like something with Elias Sampson potentially for next week.
I don't trust anything with Elias Sampson, quite honestly. But I mean, everything Jericho touches usually ends up being successful, right? So
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, in this one. I love the match, though, between Joe and Jericho, though. Loved it. It's probably my favorite match on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a surprise. With Samson, who knows? I mean, just, I don't know. Okay, so.
I don't like it. I don't like the gimmick.
It's not, I mean, it's really not good. I'm trying to think of something that would be even, well, I mean, what's the next like worst gimmick compared to Elias Sampson in all of the WWE right now?
I don't even know. I just know it's not believable, I don't know. I just think it's corny.
Yeah, it's something. So speaking of corn and corny, okay, so Bray Wyatt showed up on SmackDown last week, even though he's moved to Raw. And tonight he cut a promo against Randy Orton, who's on SmackDown. for their House of Horrors match, which is going to take place on what's still being billed as a Raw exclusive pay-per-view for Payback coming up in 2 weeks. I mean, do you think this was effective tonight, Matt?
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. At the end, when he was talking about the house being on fire and burning it down, I was like, man, if they're like in a flaming cell, I'm all in on this match. If they like just light it on fire.
That'd be cool.
I thought it was corny as hell. but you know, it was, I mean, they had some cool effects and stuff in there, but geez.
They keep using all that stock footage. You know, it's like, I don't know if you guys have ever looked at stock video footage sites, but it's like, yeah, it's like, give me weird crowd stuff. Give me creepy this and creepy that. I don't know. It just seems to me like an editor's having a lot of fun.
Well, it's you got Bray Wyatt constantly like promising like, you know, all this pain and basically murdering his opponent. And then he loses every time, you know? So it's hard to take this stuff seriously when he loses every major feud he's in.
Actually, his threats are even vaguer than that. He's not like, I'm going to murder you. He's like, I'm going to show you fear and expose you to the truth.
Right.
Just like, I would love to know really what's he talking about.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I guarantee you in the past, how vague would it be if we heard him say something? You know, because you've been so loyal to me, Randy, you now have earned yourself the keys to the kingdom. And then we're like, well, what the freak is that? You know, that's vague. You know, that's just some stupid saying or some crap. Well, sure enough, he actually gave him keys to his actual kingdom. Technically, that he did come through on one of them.
Yeah, that's true.
I think he's like Undertaker in the fact that I like his supernatural stuff. I think it's cool and it works for him.
I think the supernatural stuff is cool if you know, but Undertaker had credibility because he didn't lose every time. You know what I mean? So he does the supernatural stuff and still loses. I think they just need to give him a couple feuds with, you know, top level guys where he's just dominant and gets that steam back.
See, I don't even know he's losing. I know he lost at Mania, but other than that, I'm thinking to myself, I don't even recognize him winning or losing matches. I can't keep track of that anymore.
Yeah.
Of anybody for that matter.
Well, he's pretty much lost every. I mean, he won the title, but before that, he's, you know, lost almost every major singles feud he's been in.
That's shitty.
Yeah.
We'll see what the House of Horrors match is. The WWE sent out that survey asking people what they expect to see in it. So we'll see. We'll see if chainsaws make it into the actual match.
As long as this feud's over, it's fine by me.
Yeah, please, something else, anything. Yeah. Okay, so back from break, Alicia Fox, Dana Brooke, and with Emma, what were they referring to on 205 Live that happened last week? Do either of you know?
Alicia Fox opened a gift and just powder blew up in her face. Something like that.
Huh. Okay.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know what this was setting up tonight. I feel like this was a placeholder beat. We'll see what happens with that.
They're setting up Alicia Fox and Dana.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That already happened on Main Event like 2 or 3 weeks ago. But
you know, they might have been rehearsing.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this, which I thought was a great match. I'd love to know what you guys think. Jeff Hardy versus Cesaro tonight. What'd you think of this, Matt? Seeing Jeff back carrying it.
I was very excited when they made that announcement. I didn't like the backstage pre-tape.
Mm-hmm.
God, that was so rehearsed and so painfully scripted. Just I wanted to throw up. Yeah. It was so heavily scripted on Cesaro and Sheamus's part and everybody's part. You could tell. But the match itself, I was excited for. I was like, oh wow, they're gonna give away the singles match. This is cool. You know, Cesaro's, I love watching him work, especially when they give him something to sink his teeth into. They give him a good opponent like this. And I thought it was very entertaining. I loved it.
Yeah. I thought it was good. With Matt kind of still doing some of his broken stuff, I just think he looks kind of goofy.
He's trying, man. He's trying.
He's trying, but he just ends up looking kind of goofy. I don't know. I think he needs to find something else or just drop it. But Jeff looked good. Jeff's a star, you know. I think he's a main event guy.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, was he legit? Was he favoring a knee there tonight, Raj? What was going on
No, he's just selling.
Jeff, it's so hard to tell, if he's selling for real or not. He's so good at it.
Yeah. No, I thought that was great tonight.
I'm assuming he was selling unless he hurt himself in the match, but
I don't know, man. The way stuff's been going lately, like I fully expect we'll get off the air and it's like, oh, someone else is out with an injury. You know, it seems like
you never know.
Yeah, more and more these days. No, I thought that was a great match. I love that they gave it time. I mean, to me, that was just any other night that could have easily been the main event of the show.
It's almost surprising there's not more injuries nowadays because the ring style is so much harder. You know, the wrestling style is so much more physical that it's kind of surprising that there's not more. You know,
and the banned substance list is ridiculous. It's ridiculously stringent to the point where you got to be kidding me. You can't even take friggin' creatine monohydrate.
Really?
Like, what? That's ridiculous. Creatine, all it does is give you water weight. That's all it does. It gives you some extra strength. But like, you can't even take that. Like,
wow.
My 12-year-old cousin could take that and be in his cheering competitions and be just fine with it. You know, so like my point is today's technologies is better for athletes. We understand injuries better. We can take care of ourselves better. But like, I think the downside of that wellness policy is it's too stringent and too strict, and there'd be even less injuries if guys were able to take just basic vitamins like B12, you know, like things like that. You shouldn't need a script for a B12, you know. That's not cheating by taking B12.
Right.
It's just not. My muscles aren't going to be bigger because I take B12, you know? So, I don't know. I see both sides of it.
I didn't know B12 was banned. Wow, that's crazy.
That is.
I mean, I could be wrong and exaggerating here, but I'm pretty sure like everything is banned. You can't chew bubble gum.
Which makes me wonder, what is Jinder taking? Or is it just literally, you know, egg whites and
he's right. If your diet is that tight and you're doing cardio on top of what you're doing on the road, that is what happens. Your body gets super, super vascular like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely diet. That's playing around with your carbohydrates without taking carbohydrates for like 4 or 5 days, really keeping them low. And then probably right before TV, he spikes them the night before and his body reacts to it. And that's why you see those veins pop out everywhere.
Yeah, that makes sense. So backstage, we got one last bit with Braun going things, cameo of Heath Slater and Rhino. Then, of course, Braun comes along and does his thing. So Big Show versus Braun Strowman. So they collapsed the ring at the end of it, which was a moment. I think a lot of people saw it coming. In fact, there were no LEDs on the ring tonight. They had it set up with the older style posts. I mean, it seemed like
the LED posts were gone.
Yeah.
They had the old ring set up. So yeah, people on Twitter picked up on it pretty quick.
But still
didn't take any of the effect away.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
And it's awesome that they don't do it that often. So, you know, if they did this same spot all the time, then it would have lost its effect. But because they haven't done it in such a long time, it was awesome when they did it. I think they've only done it twice before, right? I know they did it with Brock and Big Show. And I think they did it with Mark Henry and Big Show.
Yep. That's
it. That might have been the last time.
It is, yep.
So big sign of their belief in Braun, giving him that tonight. I mean, the crowd had just went absolutely wild for it. I thought the match to that, building up to it, was good.
Very solid. The push they're giving Braun right now, I mean, it's working. I mean, he's over and it's awesome. I mean, they've done a great job with Braun. I know a lot of people, myself included, were second guessing Braun last year, but man, he's made the most of it. And two good matches with the Big Show. I thought this was a really good big man's match.
Yeah, and it's very difficult to have two big guys go against each other like that and have it be anything other than two pigs looking like they're humping a football. That's a saying when two big guys generally work together because it's always ugly. And not only are they two big guys, but they're two damn near 7-footers. That's really, really, really impressive to me that they're able to pull out those two matches.
Yeah.
No, definitely. So how much are you going to be annoyed, Matt, when Braun loses to Roman then at Payback in 2 weeks?
Oh God. I don't know. I think maybe they change it. No, doesn't Braun go forward with all this?
Yeah, I think so. They're building to Braun and Brock, so that would be the natural thing.
Right?
Yeah.
I would love for that to be the outcome. I mean, that would be fantastic. I think, is it going to be a stretcher match or is there going to be some stipulation?
They didn't announce anything, but just with the way that angle was done, I was assuming it was going to be like an ambulance match or a stretcher match, and they still could announce it, but they haven't said anything yet.
Maybe it becomes a 3-way.
With Brock?
Eventually with Brock and Strowman and Reigns.
Oh, yeah.
Because think about it. I can also see them saying, not the whole Super Reigns stuff, right? But instead going, wait a minute, we just had him go, we just retired Undertaker. Hello, we need to make, we can't just waste that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When he's going against Strowman. So that's going to be one hell of a corner they book themselves into when it's Strowman versus Reigns.
Yeah, I mean, that's 2 weeks. And I mean, they could have Roman win this one. They do a rematch and then, Braun wins that, and then they go with Braun and Brock. Because I think they're trying to keep Roman and Brock apart. Because the plan is for WrestleMania, next year's WrestleMania, is to be Brock and Roman.
Interesting.
So, yeah, obviously they could always change, but that is the current plan.
Yeah,
I think Dave Meltzer reported that if like last month.
I mean, Braun was pretty over with the crowd tonight. Even, I mean, that cheers he was getting was talking about it's gonna be Roman Reigns' funeral. Everyone was like, yeah.
It's kind of hard not to cheer him. He's like the Incredible Hulk, just throwing stuff around and crashing jobbers and
But it's even better than that, though. I mean, I know I talked about this before, but I mean, he's literally got a baby face. He looks like a big baby head with a beard on Matt Morgan's body. Like,
they're not cheering him because of that. They're cheering him because he's Destructor. He's just running through shit and saying he's going to do it. Like, what's cooler than a guy that says what he's going to go do and then goes and does it?
Yeah. But I think it makes him more of a character. But it makes him more of a character, though, because it's not your typical tough guy, I think.
Dude,
at least.
He don't need to be a character. His character is he's a country strong redneck with a weird looking beard and mohawk, but is stronger than hell.
Yeah.
And we just like to be impressed with his physicals, his physical feats that they've been highlighting. They've done a good job with all that stuff, all that backstage footage and his feats of strength and planning. Let me tell you this right now. I would have been fired had I been running drop kicks and stuff like that back when I was there. You weren't allowed to do any of that as a big guy. I could do a freaking shooting star, okay? I know he can't do one, but back then I'd be fired if I did that. You weren't allowed to do that as a big guy, which is stupid. I never agreed with it. But my point is like they're showcasing and telling him to do this stuff at the right time. Yeah. And Big Show's the perfect opponent to whip all this stuff out against.
Yeah.
But I worked Big Show and I was told I couldn't do those types of things.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I could see the mentality for wanting that. Because if the smaller guys are doing it, then and the big guys, then it kind of takes away the it being impressive for the smaller guys, and the big guys are already kind of impressive just by just standing there. So I could see. But
ironically, the complaint is, oh, this is boring. There's a typical big man match. Oh, well then shit. Let me show you what I can really do. Then say that. Yeah. And you can't sometimes.
Yeah, there is that. I remember when Brock did that shooting star press on Kurt Angle, and he almost killed himself because he landed a little awkward.
Fans watching this show, go type in YouTube Minnesota stretching crew and watch Shelton Benjamin and Brock Lesnar's finishing move as a tag team in OVW. Holy crap. Like on one side you had Brock hitting a shooting star with Shelton, I believe, hitting a moonsault. Is so incredible.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Shelton is coming back to the ring this weekend.
Looks awesome. Wait to see how great shape he's in.
Yeah, so he's been out since last July, had a torn rotator cuff, and so he's back. He's not signed with WWE, but they were interested in him back then. So I'm sure once he works off the ring rust, I'm sure they'll bring him back.
He's back.
Yeah.
Cool. All in all tonight, Matt, so what'd you think? Above average Raw? Just okay?
Definitely above. I give him a B. I give him a strong B.
Yeah. Raj?
I'll give it a... Yeah, I'll probably give it a B plus, just because the ring imploding was really cool, and even though it's something that's been seen before. I like how they did it. They teased that spot a couple times too, where earlier in the match they'd go to the top and the fans started going nuts, and then they went back down. So I like how they did it. So yeah, I'll stick with a B, because I think before that it was a C+ show.
But nowhere near the worst.
No. I thought it was fine. This was one of those cases where
nowhere near the worst. We didn't give them D's here. We gave them D's.
Right. Yeah. But this was one of those cases where if this was their weekly product and it was only 2 hours, it definitely wouldn't be bad, Yeah. But being 3 hours, got me tired by the end.
Yeah. It's cool, man. Anything else we want to cover before we take things home here?
Let's see. Was there anything else? Matt, can you think of anything?
No, just how amazingly awesome I looked on my hot tag the other night on Impact Wrestling. Honestly, no. Just everybody, please tune in Thursday nights, Pop TV, Impact Wrestling. Hopefully, the whole goal here with this movement is to get back to where we were, and I think we got the people in charge now to do that. That's my opinion, and that's one of the reasons I came back. And I hope to, not to sound corny, but I hope that's something that we can do, because that was one hell of a company at one point. Yeah, they weren't going to knock WWE off the ledge anytime soon. Everybody gets that, but it was a good, different show for fans to choose to watch at the time, and we'd like to get us back there. And I think we're going to be on our way back there with the right people in the right places this time, versus people that were just friggin' writing the show into the ground at the time.
Yeah, I think people forget that there was a time when Impact was getting. I mean, they broke 2 million viewers for an episode before,
and there was better matches, bro. Nobody could argue with me that our show wasn't putting on better matches at the time.
Yeah, I remember Kurt Angle, the stuff with Samoa Joe. I mean, there were, Impact's definitely had ups and downs, but there were definitely times when it looked like it could be something. I like that they dropped the TNA initials. Yeah, and it's on Pop Thursday nights. And when's the next taping? Is that this coming weekend?
Yes, this Thursday through Sunday at Universal Studios.
And so you'll be there, I take it?
Yes, I will.
Nice.
Yeah. Stay tuned to Wrestling Inc. for all the spoilers for everything that's going to happen at those tapings. Pop's on the come up, man. I'm seeing more and more stuff about Pop just showing up in the trades. It seems like as a network, it's getting kind of hot. They're picking up some Canadian series. They're picking up some rerun rights. They're going to have some original programming soon. I mean, I think Impact is poised to really help additionally make that a better network and ride that wave.
I don't know if they have an HD feed, but on DirecTV they don't.
I have HD.
What's that?
I have them on HD here at Bright House in Florida.
Oh, you do? Because that hurts the quality of the show from watching it on DirecTV, is it not being in HD.
Oh man, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it on SD here too, but I'm hearing more about it. I'm just more and more I'm seeing Pop TV references showing places. So I don't know. I think good things will happen with the network, and I think it'll help Impact, which in turn helps Matt Morgan, which in turn helps Wrestling Inc. and the Wrestling Inc. podcast. So it's really circle of life, people. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm going to be out the next 2 Mondays, but Matt, I'll see you, for Payback, which is a week from this Sunday. I'm at NAB in Vegas next week. And then I'm actually going to be at SmackDown Live house show in 2 weeks from tonight in Stockton, California. But I was just telling Raj that night after on SmackDown, I will be on the ramp sporting a Wrestling Inc. t-shirt. So we'll make that happen. So in the meantime, be sure to follow Mr. Matt Morgan on Twitter at BP Matt Morgan. Follow him on Instagram, man. You've been posting those clips, all your workout stuff, like solid. You were definitely one of the more entertaining people that I follow on Instagram.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah. And of course, stay tuned to Wrestling Inc. for all the latest in wrestling news. So until next time, folks, I'm Glenn Rubenstein, and we'll see you back here on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.